We have decided to set up our second financing company called Sygnus Real Estate Finance. And to be clear, Sygnus Real Estate Finance is not a REIT, it's a real estate investing company. So we invest in real estate between greenfield, meaning developments, or brownfield renovation, or even just lending to acquire real estate. And we can take equity or debt position. We do not hold real estate investment for a very long time. We have an average exit period of 3 to 5 years. From our view, we have a very disciplined approach to whatever we do, whether it's real estate or private credit investment. So we will look at every project, every financing opportunity in the real estate space, whether it's industrial, commercial, or residential, and assess the risk, assess our exit, and assess the execution possibility and make a decision. So we are not biased on any particular sector. At the moment though, we are paying very keen attention to what could happen in the residential sector. But we are seeing projects right across the board, industrial, commercial, and we have a lot of projects in the industrial and commercial space. We have far less projects in terms of opportunities in the residential. But the key thing though to understand in terms of residential is that when you think about residential in Jamaica, Jamaica is still very underbuilt, and there's a lot of data to show that the NHT, who is the major source of capital, so to speak, for residential housing, is still not able to satisfy demand. As a matter of fact, and I must commend them, they have just put in place a special program that allow developers to build, and then the NHT would offtake large volumes. So that will help to drive the velocity of housing development in Jamaica. I think most of what we are talking about in terms of overpricing in the real estate market and so forth and overbuilt is really, people are really talking about Kingston 6, Kingston 8, and Kingston 5. That's a small cross-section of Jamaica. If you even say there's 1,000 rooms or 500 available stock on the market in this area, Jamaica housing need, according to the last research and what I understand NHT is aspiring towards, is 10,000. And NHT not only does low-income houses, they also do middle-income houses. So if we assume that, like every economy, bulk of your population reside in the middle income or lower income, then there's significant opportunities to continue to provide housing stock in the middle and lower income space. So we should not be clouded by the fact that when we look around in Kingston 6, 5, and 8, we see a lot of development going on, or a lot of relatively high price points, right? The other thing, so that's on the residential. On the office side though, when you really look at the market, there has not been a lot of significant development of commercial space over the last decade in Jamaica. There has not been, for example, any great renewal of the assets in New Kingston, and that's why you have a lot of empty spaces in the city. If you look at New Kingston, right, there are car parks on the ground, flat land car parks. There are cook shops on the ground. There are mango trees on even this street. That doesn't represent an economy where commercial space is being overbuilt. It represents an economy that has huge opportunity for growth and proper utilization or monetization of prime real estate. The industrial side is the same, all right, with the ambition of Jamaica to become a transshipment point with the growth that we are seeing in manufacturing and the renewal of, I would say, many small, medium-sized firms and large firms. They will need real estate in terms of industrial or warehousing space. And we have seen that trend started along the Mandela Highway, and there are a lot of other big projects that I'm aware of that is going to come on stream in the industrial space. So there's a lot of opportunities in industrial, commercial space, I think. Solving the redevelopment of downtown Kingston has to be solved, in my mind, in a very similar way to how we have solved, or the journey that we have took to solve our debt problem, so to speak, for the most part, where you have significant commitment from the government, significant commitment from the private sector, to the point where we have EPOC being established, which was the first time in our history, I think, and in many other countries who have gone through debt problems, where government and private sector sit at the table and said that we will solve this, and we will hold each other accountable for certain deliverables, right? Downtown is unique because it will take a lot of money to redevelop downtown, significant amount of money. And there's a lot of communities that could be affected in any significant development that we have to think about. How do we manage the social impact of that? And how do we allow each Jamaican who within that space feel a part of the developments? And that's the reason why I said it is a complicated thing that will take a lot of commitment to really develop it in a big way. What you will have and what we see is patches of a building going up there and a building going up there and so forth. For me, those are sort of one-off projects. And it's good that you can still, it signal that all is not lost and investors are willing to put money downtown because it's significant. But a development of downtown has to be a very deliberate, well planned out initiative with a clear path. And then you have to then try and find the huge amount of capital, which has to come, in my mind, from external source. We just don't have that amount of capital to really make a big transition. So that's how I think about it. But eventually, in my mind, those things will happen. And why they will happen? Because, again, you can't do certain things. For example, downtown, or even a serious discussion on redeveloping downtown, doesn't matter what policy government put in place. It can't happen when you have an economy that at 140, 150 debt to GDP, a whole lot of social ills, deficits and so forth, high interest rate and it just can't happen. It doesn't really matter if you said go and take land for free downtown. So we have to go through a period where the economy is stable, like what we are seeing now. Interest rates are low for a long period of time. There's a renewed vigor in the private sector, meaning when I said private sector vigor, I mean risk-taking. There are new enterprises and new entrepreneurs coming to create new opportunities. And you go through a period of time when people are happy investing in Jamaica again, meaning local business people, and you have a huge push. And when that happens, you will have the economy start growing at 3-4%. Then you can start tackle downtown. Outside of that, in my mind, and I'm very practical, it's just like a good to say.
So do you think the execution and successful completion of government circle will catalyze that?
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. The execution, a successful execution of government circle will certainly help to send a very strong message in terms of the government commitment to the redevelopment effort. And it will also naturally create economic activity. So I think that would be, in my mind, one of the first steps by the government in what I described previously in terms of a social sharing of mind with the private sector. They put their money where their money where your heart is, by establishing government circle. Yeah. And I think over time, with the economic activities that will take place there, then we can do a proper project plan around building out downtown.